Stepping into Nuance Chocolate, located in Old Town Fort Collins, I was excited to taste some chocolate. Nuance is one of the only chocolate stores in the nation that makes its own chocolate from scratch.
We arrived right on time.
Yeah. Yes, I only agree with punctuality. No, I'm kidding. Hi, it's nice to see you.
Likewise.
Hi.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
Thanks for the invite.
Yeah. Oh my goodness, I'm so excited to do this.
I am too. I love eating chocolate.
I got the opportunity to taste what Nuance has to offer with Kristin Mastre, who is currently a food critic for Feasting Fort Collins.
I've been the restaurant critic in Fort Collins for coming on 7 years now, and so I explore about 90% of Fort Collins food, anywhere from fast casual restaurants that are Colorado owned to locally owned restaurants and bars and breweries and distilleries around town.
Okay.
Sometimes I'll go out into Denver and Boulder a few times, check things out, and then occasionally I'll start moving out into other cities in the nation like San Diego and DC and do some exploration.
That's so cool. What's your favorite part about your job?
I really think the best part is the writing of the connection between food and philosophy and experience and sharing that moment.
That's
I think it's
awesome.
a lot of fun.
Also seated at the table with us, as a chocolate guide, as it were, was Toby Gadd, the co-founder and co-owner of Nuance Chocolate, along with his wife, Alex Gadd.
Yeah, because the heart of what Nuance is single origin.
Yeah.
We have the widest range of single origin of any chocolate maker in the world right now.
Right.
By a long shot.
Nuance offers 3 different flights, basically samplings of chocolate: the single origin dark, the flavored, and the milk chocolate flight.
What would you recommend?
What have you done, Sierra?
I think I did the first one.
I think I got you with the first
yeah.
one. Yeah, totally.
Yeah. It was quite good. I mean, I'm no food critic, but it was really good.
Let's go number 1.
Okay.
Yeah.
Why not?
Great.
Sort of something like that.
Yeah.
I have not had that, and that does sound interesting.
We decided to taste the flight of single origin chocolates, which is a sampling of 5 of Nuance's chocolates from South American countries, from Ghana, Ecuador, Nicaragua, Venezuela, and Madagascar.
Different volatiles are being released different times in your mouth, different temperatures. If you just purely suck chocolate, you actually will miss certain flavors that you'll actually get if you bite it. Right? At the same time, if you just bite it and chew it all up and swallow it, you might miss things that linger a little bit. For some reason, why we do the stars. Okay, because the stars, you bite off a few points, nibble through that, so you get the whole kind of crunching up, get more surface exposure basically. And when you swallow it, you get the retronasals. The retronasal flavors are going to happen at different temperatures. So if you just let it melt, you're only going to get the hottest chocolate back to retronasal. Or if you chew it up, you actually get more complexities.
As the flight plate was set down in front of us, there were stars of chocolate, as well as crackers and a glass of water.
Cool, so the way to do this is to actually start with a little cracker first as a palate cleanser. You want to get those oils from whatever you ate last off your tongue. And then a little bit of water to wash the cracker away, and then you start doing the chocolates. Notice we also are using ice water. We don't want to cool your mouth off too much. The rate that chocolate melts in your mouth radically affects the flavor of it. So if I've been doing my presentation and talking a lot, the chocolate tastes different to me than I've been, let's say, working all morning in front of my computer and breathing through my nose.
All right. I was starting with the Ghana 2013.
The first sample in the flight was from Ghana. Kristin and I both took a star and bit down.
I like the deepness of these, or of this one so far, because it comes with a really crisp, clean flavor in the beginning. Yeah, that was the interesting thing when I'm looking at the flavor notes and compared to how my palate interprets that. The first bite is that bright sweetness, but my brain doesn't recognize that as quite much as cherry. But it is just a really intense sweetness. And then it does evolve and smooths out. I really like that front bite though. It's like a little punch. Yeah.
It's awesome.
Next, I took my hand at giving an educated opinion on the chocolate I just tasted.
Yeah, if I was trying to be like a food critic, I could say, for me, I mean, my palate isn't as refined, but all I really got was like that it's so sweet, and it's just like, it makes me happy, like immediately. That's what I felt was like the emotion of like happiness, which is really weird. And chocolate is supposed to make you happy, but it was just like immediate. And it was really, that one made me happy.
You're just there for theobromine.
There you go. That's right. Oh, that's funny.
Because it does literally make you happy.
Yeah.
A lot of people, when you see nutritional breakdowns on chocolate, you see caffeine is one of the constituents. And that's a bit of a misnomer. There's actually not much caffeine in chocolate. It's mostly theobromine. It's a part of the methylxanthine family, so they lump it together. But theobromine is a different molecule. It is a stimulant like caffeine. Methylxanthine family also includes like nicotines as well. But theobromine is longer and mellower than caffeine. And it definitely is a feel-good chemical. My drug of choice.
All right.
Ecuador?
Yep.
As we picked up each new chocolate, there was a crack as teeth nibbled down, then a long silence, punctuated by lip smacking as we experienced the full flavors each had to offer.
Well, that's funny. So I think this is really one of the few times where I'm sitting in front of flavor notes and really getting in depth between my palate perception to the flavor notes. Because usually when I'm doing like a beer tasting or a comparative tasting, it's usually just what my brain is recognizing compared to the comparison. And so when I see the layer of raspberry syrup description, I've noticed that the descriptions are very flavor specific, which is awesome because that's what tasting notes are supposed to be. And my brain is interpreting that more as depthness of flavor and crispness, which I think is that's fascinating. I don't think I've ever compared that before.
Interesting.
Yeah, because this one, for me, the front flavor is a lot more mellow and rich and smooth. I'm gonna need to take some more bites. But it doesn't have that initial pow that first bite had.
What's the retronasal in Ecuador? So to swallow and get the warm chocolate back through. That's where I get the what I consider to be a hazelnut notes in there.
As soon as I saw the word raspberry, I was like, yes, it is raspberry. It so is. I actually really like this one a lot. I like that it's more like subtle. I like that it feels smooth to me. But
The next single origin was from Nicaragua, which, according to Toby, smokers really enjoy. I don't smoke, and I have to admit I was apprehensive as I bit down on this one.
I do like this, but you're exactly right how it is a very nuanced kind of flavor. While some people will love it or hate it.
Yeah, what we find is about half people love or hate it. Hard to predict other than the smoker and the Scotch drinker loving it. With wine, a nice red wine, about 95% of people love it. It's an amazing pairing chocolate. You love the interaction. We start pairing chocolate with other foods. The complexities go on there. So.
Nearly kind of sourness to it on the front, but it smooths out. And mint isn't exactly the herb that I pull up, but again, it's the palate perception where the notes are very flavor specific, and my brain is bringing that more into a general kind of herbiness. Not necessarily vegetal, kind of like which is what I would say for a green pepper kind of flavor, but and it does have that. It's the green leaf. I think that is the best description. Yeah. So from sour to smooth and that green leaf.
it's crazy. Yeah.
Right?
That was really interesting. Wow. Is there actually hints of tobacco in this?
No, not.
Okay.
Just cacao
Wow.
sugar, right? Nothing else in those. Yeah, that one is also like a very smooth melt to it. Notice different type of textures you get in cacao. So depending on the climates we're growing in and the cultivar of the plant, you get different composition of the fats and oils, which are called cocoa butters collectively. So the different melt will also change your perception of it. A very smooth melt on Nicaragua.
By the next chocolate, I was seeking a relief from the Nicaragua chocolate that had overwhelmed my head with those vegetal flavors. Venezuela was not what I was expecting, but it didn't disappoint.
This one's really interesting because I think out of the four, so far, this one has the most mild front flavor out of all of them, and then it almost slides right into that a similar cherry flavor from the first Ghana, which I thought was interesting because there is that roundness of flavor profile.
I would totally agree. All I can say is that I like it. I like it. This is like my favorite one.
Yeah, that first bite. That's fascinating. Where it almost tastes like, I don't want to say nothing, but it is so mild on that first bite, and all of a sudden, as it starts to melt.
Yep. So talking about the releasing, start warming up chocolate. So people often put chocolate in the refrigerator. Big no-no.
Right.
Right. You're never going to get those releases. We like drinking, I don't know, an iced porter. Right. We wouldn't want to do that.
Right.
You know, the reason a lot of the darker beers are consumed at higher temperatures, warmer temperatures, is because they have all those flavor notes that you want to have develop out of it. Or a lot of very low-grade beers, honestly, they serve them cold because they don't want them to taste like anything.
That makes sense. Similar to coffee, too, in the refrigerator, because it'll start to absorb all of the flavors that are in your refrigerator and kind of floating around.
Exactly. That's something else I tell people. Do not store it in your freezer. It'll taste like your freezer, which is anything like mine. It's a nice place to store things, but you don't want to really eat the ice that forms inside of your freezer.
No.
The final single origin we tried was from Madagascar, and as it was supposed to be the most complex one in the flight, we were finding ourselves referencing feelings and shapes as we tried to describe its taste.
Madagascar. This is a pretty famous bean, San Bruno Valley. It is the most complex chocolate we have, and this one you will notice it's going to go through a whole roller coaster. I actually think that I taste Madagascar a couple of minutes after I actually eat a bar of it. It tastes different. It lingers that long on your palate. And it's pretty magical stuff, and it's going to be bright, acidic, super complex.
It is very fruity. It's like a bouquet.
Totally.
It's beautiful.
Interestingly enough, I think the roller coaster ride ended up happening with the Venezuela for me more so than this one with Madagascar. I think it is a much sweeter roundness than probably the Nicaragua and the Ecuador and the Venezuela. Similar to the sweetness of the Ghana, for me anyway. Not necessarily pungent like that cherry kind of, except for in the middle. It is really fascinating how each flavor is very completely different.
Amazing.
By the end of the flight, my taste buds were spent, but I felt more cultured. I wondered if my palate was actually more refined.
I think everybody has different palates. I don't think it's necessarily more or less refined. I think that people, as you learn more how to identify flavors, it becomes a little easier. But the entire sensation of what your mouth is going through, right, all different, as it moves across different types of taste buds, different parts of retronasal. And the amazing thing is, if you try this chocolate a week from now, it will taste different too. What you've eaten last and what you're doing, and again, the warmth of your mouth. I'm always amazed. That's why when I'm working on bars, I will eat the chocolate over days, different times of day, because they can sometimes, they taste very different to me. Yeah.
Well then, flavor and sense of taste, or just like other sense aspects where not everyone sees a color the same way, not everyone hears the same way, and so when people talk about the difference in their palates and they're not as refined, nobody has the same palate. And that's why I can write a 5-star review and rave about Nick's Carbonara or whatever, and somebody will go and have a completely different experience.
Right, and also the expectations that people expect to get.
Oh, yes.
Right? Which is one reason why we have so many different single origin. People have different expectations for chocolate. Someone's idea of perfect chocolate is not going to have any acids in it at all. It's going to be a very, very simple but deep base note. Some people seek out a bright, acidic, complex chocolate, like espresso. Some people are all about, they want to have a coffee that is heavily milked and sugared and is candy-like, if you will. And some people want something that's espresso, that's more bright, acidic, complex, wickedly,
sophisticated. And they're both good.